Hey guys, so before we get started with the main content of the video, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Mets Play. He recently brought his account back. He had it hidden on YouTube and took some R&R and some well-deserved time away from YouTube to kind of do some stuff in his life, get some things done. And he just recently brought his account back. And the reason I want to give him a shout out is because he's basically the reason that I started doing videos on YouTube. I started playing Opera Omnia, and I really had no idea what I was doing. And Dissidia DB, of course, was a great resource, but I'm a visual learner, so I learn best. I work best with things I can see. And Mets Play was a channel I found very early on, and I always really enjoyed watching his stuff. He's really entertaining. He's got a great sense of humor. Even when he gets screwed over in draws on global, his JP luck is amazing. He plays both JP and global. Um, even even with his global luck just being horrible, just getting constantly shafted. The guy still has a great sense of humor, and he's a really entertaining guy, a really entertaining channel, and he's what I aspire to be on this platform. I'm not trying to make it big or anything like that. I do this for fun. I do this to help people out that maybe are new to the game or just like-minded fans that just like to see runs of difficult content. And none of this would be happening. My channel wouldn't exist. None of these videos would be being made if it wasn't for Mets Play. He's a very big inspiration. Like I said, great guy, great sense of humor. So if you like my content, then you're gonna love Mets Play's content because you know there's my stuff and then there's his stuff, right? He's been doing this for a long, long, long time. And he has content from JP, he has content from Global. He has reactions to trailers of new characters, speculations. Here on Sephiroth, draws, all that kind of stuff. So, just really good stuff, guys. If you enjoy my stuff, you're gonna love his. So, give him a subscribe if you want to follow his stuff, and give him a nice comment or two, and just let him know that hey, the community, Final Fantasy community is strong, and it doesn't really matter what we go through or what detractors say. We're all in this together, and yeah, we're we're all rooting for you, Mets. So take care of what you need to take care of, and glad you might kind of be back. It's kind of up in the air at the moment, but hey, man, just wanted to show some love and let you know that you're the reason I'm doing this. So yeah, uh, give this guy some love, guys. He deserves it. Thanks. All right, and welcome to another episode of Soul Searching. This episode is actually a request at the end of my last Soul Searching video. I said if anyone had any ideas for a future video idea to let me know, and I would see what I could do with it. And one person asked if I could do a video on uh, drawing and hoarding and how to basically go through the game, beat hard content, all that, without just constantly just spending gems. Because to this point, I've beaten every single EX stage up, and with the exception of Lena's Paywall Dragon, which I'll get more into later on. But yeah, so I figured, you know what, that's actually a good topic. Because these kinds of games are designed to they're designed to get money out of you, and the way they do that is to make more and more and more enticing banners, and always the mindset of what you have is nice, but what you could have is amazing. And this video will just try to basically explain how I go about the game and maybe help you, maybe give you some tips and help you cope with future draws or whatever in this game. So I've been actively hoarding in this game since I basically started. The really nice thing about this game is that we have the benefit of the JP timeline, right? They're about a full year ahead of us, or they were. They're not anymore because Global has sped up. The devs have said they want Global to catch up, and that's what we're doing. So we're catching up. But the nice thing about Foresight is that, for the most part, with exceptions, sometimes the character pulls, or they'll change a banner or two here or there, like this one I'm looking at right now. It was different in JP. But for the most part, the games are the same. And this is done in part to, one, less work on the development side, but two, also to keep the game balance. Because if they start releasing a bunch of things out of order, it's going to wonk with the game. And the best example I can give with that is time traveling Saz with his 35 CP. He single-handedly destroyed Global content for however many months from the time it debuted until Awakening started. I mean, it split the community into two sides. One side had the Saz 35, and the other side didn't. And the unfortunate thing about it is that the people that did have the Saz 35 absolutely steamrolled over content. Just like they weren't. It was nothing. EX challenges were nothing. Lost chapters were nothing. And all the people that didn't have it, had to really fight and claw and scratch to triumph over these stages. And the really bad thing about this, aside from splitting the community, is that the people that had the Saz 35 started saying, well, the content's too easy. This game's too easy. It's boring. And to try and compensate, the devs released content that seemed to be tuned to Saz 35 levels. Which, again, for everyone that had the weapon, that was no problem. For the people that didn't have the weapon, that was a huge, huge problem, because now all of a sudden difficult content just spiked. Power level spiked to just absurd levels. It was to the point where, it was people weren't even trying EXs anymore if they didn't have Saz 35, because there was no point. The boss's defenses were too high. They had too much health. It was a mess. So I think, thankfully, they've learned their lesson with that a little bit, and they're not going to make any more huge tweaks to the timeline. They've even admitted as much in a stream, saying that the early character release pulls weren't really a thing they were going to try and do anymore. I might be misquoting that, but something along the lines of they really didn't want to do it anymore because of the unintended consequences to the game's balance. Which, as much as I did love getting Sephiroth early, and as much as I loved getting Kuja early, I have to agree. I have to fall on the side of, the early releases, in hindsight, were probably a bad idea, because it just really goofed up just the game in general. So, what does all that huge, long tangent have to do with gems? Well, that's a good question. What it has to do with it is that the JP timeline, we should be following their timeline pretty closely from this point forward. So, that means that we can do research. We can look at things like Dissidia DB. We can look at channels like Mets Play. We can look at, Jet Stingren, Broadway Sand, stuff like that. We can look and see content that's coming up. We can see that Selphie should be dropping here In January, oh, Selfie, oh boy, that banner. If that's the same as JP with Squall EX and Selfie, ugh, my gems are gone. Anyway, we can see that she's coming. We can see that Noctis is basically gimped horribly without his EX. He's designed completely around his EX weapon. And if you don't have it, he's a shadow of what he could be. So I think that's really important is if you want to hoard currency, in-game currency, you really need to do your research. I've said this before in prior videos, but research is like the best thing you can possibly do because you can see kind of where, I don't want to say meta, but you can see where very significant releases came along. You can see awakenings that were very impactful. And again, I don't want to say meta because meta to me implies like the absolute best. Like, oh, so for example, right now, like the meta is Cloud EX, right? So Cloud EX, and then probably Terra, and then, gosh, I don't even know. Those two are on such a high podium. I guess Shintaro now. Shintaro, because she has her EX, I guess she'd be up there now too. But you have those three, and then you probably have like Awakened Vaughn, and then past that, there's a big drop off. So I don't want to say meta, but you can look forward and see things, like I said, that have a big impact on the game. So, for example, Selfie. How the chase mechanics becomes very significant later with Selfie and Lael and, oh, what's her name from Type 0? Oh, I can't remember her name. She plays the flute. Deuce. Deuce, yes. There's another great unit. Cat Seath. All that kind of stuff. So you can see, you can look forward and see, kind of guess how useful units and weapons and things like that are going to be. And that's what I did when I started this game. I kind of looked and because before, let me give a little background to my Final Fantasy mobile experience. I've never played Brave Exvius. I've never played Mobius. Before this game, I played FFRK for about three years. I stopped right after the 3rd anniversary, and I really learned my lesson in that game with just spending. Mithril is that game's version of gems. But I learned the hard way how hard it is to keep playing in a game for that long, over a sustained amount of time when you're low on currency. It's so hard because, again, these games are designed to make you think that what you have is good, but boy, oh boy, look at what the new thing is. How can you clear content without this brand new thing? This can make your favorite go from to and an FFRK, I did no research. I just sort of jumped right in, and if a banner came up and I really liked it and it had something on it that sounded like it was cool, I was like, yeah, okay. And then I blew on my Mithril. And while that is a way to play, and a lot of people do that, and hey, if that's the way you want to play, cool. That's great. I hope it works out for you. But to remain strictly free to play, I think you really have to do like a gut check at the door and know what you're getting yourself into. And that is, you're going into an environment that is actively trying to make you spend money. And if you're not going to spend money, then you really need to watch your resources. And anyone that plays free-to-play mobile games knows this, right? We all know this. But putting it into practice is a whole different story. So, like I said, research into future content is very important. knowing what you have is another one. So, for example, right off the top of my head, I know that my Terra is really, really good. She's has a full loadout. I have Lillicet now. She's not MLB, but quite frankly, she really doesn't need to be. She's a great AoE debuffer, battery. Terra's DPS. So right there, those two characters are filling 3 roles. And then my last unit is, if it's a really difficult content, I'll make it a healer, like Eiko. Or if I just want some more straight DPS, I'll try to sneak Lightning in, because Lightning is waifu, and she needs to be in as much content as possible. Which, she's in the next wave of Awakenings, which I'll get into more in a different video. I can't wait. And if they, God forbid, release her EX early, on like the Awakening wave that she debuts. Oh boy. Oh boy. That'll be a fun video where I blow 200,000 of my gems and don't get her EX, and then you'll hear me audibly crying, just sobbing. Anyway, where was I going with this? Right. Okay, so Terra, Lillicet, and then insert whoever. Eiko, Lightning, Lael. Lael will be a big part of my team when his Awakening drops, because I really like how Lael's mechanics work, how he can battery and launch, and him and Lillicet together, him and Selphie are just disgusting. But you need to know what you have, and you need to know, okay, what am I weak in? What am I strong in? So I'm strong in DPS, I have some solid batteries, but what am I weak in? Well, number one, I don't have an EX, which, not a big problem right now, because Cloud's EX is really good. Shentado's is okay. And the next couple EXs are kind of underwhelming. The later on EXs just get ridiculous. And some characters are completely designed around him. Like I mentioned earlier, Noctis gives him some stacks that add different properties to his attacks that he can't get without his EX. So those EXs are much better than just kind of the bland vanilla ones we get early on, which just offer, small buffs. Not small buffs, but they offer buffs and not much else. Like, so Clouds, for example, Force Stealer, it's great. It raises max Brave by a huge amount, gives him a humongous Brave regen, does a lot of damage, AoE. It's rock solid. It's pretty good. But man, later on those EXs get nuts. So again, you need to just kind of look at what you have and decide if a particular banner, as great as it looks, this Cloud EX banner, boy, this is a really nice coat of paint, right? I mean, Cloud EX, I gotta have Cloud EX. I need it. Everyone's going after it. Everyone's getting it. I gotta be able to just, snap my fingers and do 25,000 Brave and HP damage just right off the bat. Oh man, Tidus, Brotherhood, Bart's. I'm not even gonna mention Cecil, because Cecil is, this looks great, but when I actually stop and break it down, this banner really doesn't do much for me. Cloud's EX, as great as it is now, it's just, I really don't like using Cloud. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make Final Fantasy VII fans hate me, alright? It's a great game, but Cloud in this game just doesn't do anything for me. I think he's a little bit too slow, and there's my low battery, okay? I love his paralysis mechanic. Finishing touch, I think if you use it right, is a really, really great move, on top of launching, charging summons faster, etc. But there's just other units I'd rather use more. Tidus, I already have his 15 MLB, so he's already half gimped on this banner. Cecil is, anyways, moving on, and Bart's, his 15 is MLB, and I already have his 35. So this banner really, value-wise, doesn't do anything for me. And this banner, Shantado, I don't have a single piece of equipment for her, and that's by design. Vaughn, MLB 15, Una, MLB 15, and 35, and I don't have anything for Rem. So really, I'm looking at a character and a half worth of value on this banner, which is Rem and then half of Vaughn. So, as hard as it is to admit, as hard as it is to not chase the newest, shiniest thing, it's really necessary, because you don't ever want to get behind in a game like this, because then that makes you desperate, and then desperation makes you do crazy things like spend money you really shouldn't be spending, or dropping what little precious resources you have on the newest, biggest banner just because you feel like you don't have any other option. And in my opinion, that's really never a place you want to be in, because your game experience is going to suffer. That's just how it's going to go. You're not going to have as much fun if you're always feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm really struggling right now. I could really use a pick me up. I really need this newest EX weapon. You don't ever want to be like that, because then if you don't get it, you're crushed. You're back down to square one, and you got to start to climb up all over again. So that's one thing I do immediately when I'm looking at banners, is how much value does the banner offer me? Am I going to use the units that are on it? How viable are they going to be moving forward, and do they fill a role that I need? Like, for example, while I spent about 100 tickets on Cloud's EX banner, just trying to get another Cetus 35, or by some miracle Cloud's EX. I didn't get it, and that's okay. I didn't spend anything on Shantoto's banner, but this Lillicet Jecht banner, I did 3 draws worth and about 200 tickets, just because Lillicet is such a great unit, and Jecht is one of my favorites, and he's a great DPS, and while he does get outclassed by awakened characters, to be honest, I really didn't care, because he was a favorite. Why'd I do that? It's 2 a.m. Anyway, he's one of my favorite characters from my favorite Final Fantasy of all time, so it's kind of an easy choice for me. And Yuri is there. He's got a green shirt and green pants, so that's about the best thing I can say about him. So, yeah, anyway. So, know your roster. Don't just pull just because that new coat of paint looks spectacular. Wow, look at that shade of yellow. Look at those shades of red. Those look really nice. Yeah, they do, but do you really need it? Is it, does the banner offer you great value? And yeah, so those are all things that I take consideration. And I also get a level of satisfaction from the fact of knowing that I'm definitely not perfectly equipped for every situation. I was one of the few that did get Saz's 35, and I used him in a lot of content, and I'm thankful that I got it, because his weapon allowed me to safely skip many, 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 many banners, because even though I was missing out on great banners like Kuja and Sephiroth and Quistis, and I'm trying to remember if there's any others off the top of my head. Zack's banner that had Lael's 35. I really, as nice as they all were, Saz's 35 let me skip those, and that was really nice. But going back to what I said earlier, I like beating content knowing that I'm not fully equipped. I like going into something. I like trying to use Lightning, right? Because she's a unit a lot of people think is really bad right now. So I love using Lightning in my content, because I feel like bringing her, because she's one of my favorites, number one, and number two, she's a quote-unquote bad unit, and so triumphing over really high-end content with that is really satisfying. But yeah, there's just a certain satisfaction beating something that's really difficult with a less than optimal loadout. And so that's another reason why I think I hoard, because if I have all the newest stuff, that's great. I don't ever got to worry about beating the content, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is a game. We're playing this to have fun. We're playing this because we're using characters that we grew up with, characters that we love, and I'm playing it to have fun and to relive nostalgia. Well, speaking of nostalgia, when in chapter 11, when wait, I probably shouldn't say that. That's a spoiler. When they started, okay, I'll say this: when they started playing Otherworld, which if you played Final Fantasy X, is the really like heavy metal sounding song. When they started playing that at a very pivotal moment, I won't say what, but whew, that was great. Anyway, I'm getting very sidetracked here. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's 2:03 a.m. You know how that goes. Anyway, playing the game to have fun, and one of the best ways to have fun is going into fights feeling like, yeah, I'm definitely not optimally equipped for this. And if I was optimally equipped, that'd be great, and I could definitely beat the content. But I wouldn't get as much of a thrill out of it beating it with Cloud EX, Shantado EX, and Terra. Brute forcing my way through instead of using, Terra, Lightning, and Eiko, for example. Or Lillicet, which, oh my gosh, Lillicet and Terra is such a beautiful 1-2 combo. Oh boy. It's so fun. Anyway, getting sidetracked again. Yeah, so there's lots of things that go into hoarding and my free-to-play mindset. Now, I will say this. You'll notice I have no tickets. I had 356 when Chapter 11's banner started, which is when the EX banner started as well. And I blew all those tickets. And I think one thing that helps me a lot is with tickets, if I see a banner I really like, regardless of how much it helps me, I spend the tickets. Because tickets are like a system that doesn't exist in any other gacha I've ever played, and I've played a few. Tickets I kind of view as like a get out of jail free card, right? They're kind of free. You get so many, and they're not nearly as hard to get as gems. So tickets I view as kind of like okay, if you want to splurge with tickets. Don't feel bad about it. Don't beat yourself up over it. So by making a concession like that to where I'm like, okay, use the tickets. Don't worry about how much. Just use some until you're satisfied. I think that helps a lot too. Because if you ardently stick to hoarding all the time 24/7, your experience in the game is going to suffer too. I love hoarding, and I love feeling like I'm prepared for anything that happens. But at the same time, I also like the rush of, the gacha system, the rush of spend a ticket and watch the orb break and turn into a 3-star weapon, and then you're just like, oh, okay, well, that was worth the 5 seconds it took. um, but yeah, so I use tickets as kind of an escape from the horde mode. Also, I was waiting for the drop rates to go up to 10% because I knew about that, and boy, am I glad I did, because out of those 350 tickets I spent, I got so many 5 stars. Oh my gosh. And you read about all these people getting EXs off tickets and stuff. Like, draw rate hype is real. It is a real thing, people. If you have not taken advantage of that yet, I don't know how you couldn't have, unless you've been under a rock, because, man, you got 3 banners sitting right here that are just, oh, beautiful. Spend some tickets, spend some gems, chase these weapons, people. These draw rates are something else. But yeah, so a lot of things went into it. I think the biggest advice I can give to anyone, that is interested in staying free to play is just don't ever fall behind the eight ball. I'm not saying set hard limits that you absolutely have to stick to on a banner, because if it's a banner you really want, limits are very hard to stick to. But you definitely need a level of self-control, because these games are designed to get your gems, to get your tickets, and to just always make you wanting more. Now, with that all being said, DFFOO is by far, and a mile and a yard, the most generous Gacha I've ever played. It's ridiculously generous. 90% chance of getting a featured weapon on a banner. Let's see. We had the 10+1 system, the 5-star guaranteed, at least one 5-star. The ticket system, the Power Stone system. So even if you get a 5-star you don't want or don't need, you can sell it and use it to upgrade something you do need or do have. I mean, this game, it's. I think we're really spoiled with this game. But with all that being said, it is still a game at the end of the day that's trying to get your money. So, to stay ahead of the curve, you have to have some self-control. You have to know when to stop. And you kind of have to ask yourself, how does this banner help me beforehand? And, I'm sure someone listening to this right now is probably thinking, like, how do you have any fun doing that? You're spending all this time analyzing and thinking about weapons and all these things. Like, how do you just... Sorry, I don't know if you guys heard that. That was my dog. But how do you have any fun playing the game? And my answer to that is, well, the fun comes from calculating and analyzing and coming out with what I see as the best avenues of upgrading what I have and triumphing over the purposefully I'm trying to think how I want to say this. The purposeful mechanics of the game that are constantly trying to make you want and get more. And triumphing over those mechanics is a battle in and of itself. And that's a battle I take a lot of joy in. Which sounds weird, right, on paper, but in practice, it works out. Like, I have almost 280,000 gems, and I'm doing all right. I don't have an EX weapon yet. That's okay. I can still beat all the content except for Lena's Paywall Dragon, which, gosh, anyone that's been playing this game since Lena's event knows all about that terrible fight. And then the Chapter 11 boss on hard, the very final one. I don't have Lena. I could use Yuna. I do have her 35 and her 15 MLB. I don't have her 35 MLB, I have her 15. And if I upgraded her to Crystal level 60, I might have a shot using, like, Yuna, Terra, and... Gosh, I don't even know who my last person would be. But I'm just gonna let it simmer. I'm just gonna let it wait, because Selphie's coming soon, and Selphie is kind of like, she's hilarious. She's great. She's amazing. And once I have Selphie, and hopefully I get Squall's EX, I'll probably take Squall, Selphie, and Terra in. Or, well, no, actually, probably won't take Selphie and Squall, because they're actually horrible synergy-wise. It's because of Squall's Int Brave requirements. So, okay, never mind. I guess I'll use Selphie, Terra, and I don't know, someone. I got a lot of time to think about it. Maybe I'll get lucky and get Noxus's EX. Although I'm actually not even sure I'm going to spend any tickets or anything on that banner. But regardless, yeah. So I can still beat everything. All the co-op EXs. Not co-op EXs, but the EXs that come from new events. I have this much saved up, and I can still do all that, and I take a lot of pride in that, because it's fun. It's fun beating the odds. It's fun clearing these stages that maybe I shouldn't be beating so easily or whatever. I'm not here to discuss the difficulty or whatever of the EXs and the LC Lost Chapter missions. But yeah, so a lot of things go into it, and I know this is probably way more than the person who asked the question asked me to make this video. It's probably way more information they bargained for, but I think it's a lot more complex of an issue than don't spend gems, don't spend tickets, save, save, save. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of calculated risk. It's minimizing risk as much as possible. Playing a gacha, you're gambling, right? You're trying to minimize as much risk as possible. And even with all the calculations and the analyzing and taking all the steps, it's still very easy to lose, right? It's very easy to still fall behind the odds and not get what you want. But by doing all these calculations and all this preparation, you're giving yourself the best chance to succeed. And to me, there's really, aside from playing the actual content and beating it, there's really not much greater joy than saving and watching these great banners go by and still feeling confident that what you have is enough. So yeah, would I love to have Cloud ZX? Of course I would. I have his 15 MLB, I have his NT Buster, and I have his Rune Blade at 2 Limit Break. Almost, one more for MLB. So if I got his EX, Cloud he instantly is probably my best unit. I don't even got to think about it. Yeah, he is my best unit. But I'm okay, and I'm happy, not happy, but I'm content with letting his EX get away, because I'll have a chance to get it later on, and the support on his banner just doesn't do anything for me. Cecil's just completely dead weight. Tidus, I'll hit him on his EX banner, and Bart's, I'll hit him on his EX banner. So, this banner just, value-wise, just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, so that was probably way longer of a video than anyone expected. Longer than I expected, that's for sure. I apologize for stumbling over myself so much. This was all entirely off script, off the cuff. Just that, yeah. Boy, good talking is good, yeah. Oh my lord, this is a mess. Okay, so, thank you all for watching me stumble through an expose on hoarding and is it for you? And the simple answer is maybe. It just depends on how you want to play the game. If you just want to just play it just however you like, and you see a great banner, you go after it, and that's cool. Go right ahead. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. If that's how you have fun, then by all means, because that's what we're all in this game for, ladies and gents, to have fun, enjoy ourselves. But if you get, pleasure out of triumphing over mechanics that are in to get your money, if you enjoy coming out on top and feeling like you're prepared for any situation, then just do research and know what's coming and be involved in the community if possible. I'm on the subreddit, and just kind of keep your pulse on things, and you do that and you're going to be in great shape. Again, I'm not saying that this is the way to play, not at all. This is the way I play it, and this is the way I have fun, and yeah, it's a really great feeling. So thank you all for watching me ramble and listening to me. As I mentioned in the first section of the video, if you guys think that I'm halfway competent, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, Mets Play is even better than me. Okay, just give the guys some love. Dude's awesome. Inspired me to start doing stuff like this. Funny guy, kind guy. Anyone I talk to about him has only nice things to say about him. He's a great guy. So show him some love. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck on your draws and your banners. And hopefully you guys get an EX on your very first ticket, as I've seen multiple people online saying they have, which I have my doubts. I have my doubts because EXs on the 10 plus 1, so the plus 1 you're guaranteed to get on a 10 draw, have a 5% chance of appearing. Conversely, on a single ticket or a single draw, an EX has a 0.5% chance of happening. So less than 1%. So these people saying that they got it on one ticket, I just, I don't know. I don't think I believe it. But if you did, and you're not lying, you've used up your luck for like the rest of your life, like the whole supply. So if that's the case, you're really not hoarding much of anything, and you're probably watching the wrong video. And yeah, it's like 2:20, and I need to stop the video now. So thank you guys for watching. Like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you'd like to see content similar to this one. So yeah, you guys all have a great day or night, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and take care. Oh, and before I forget, hi, back again. If you have any future ideas for future episodes of Soul Searching or content in general, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'd love to read about them. I'm always looking for new ideas and addressing what you, the viewers, would like to hear about or see. So if you have any ideas, please feel free to let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys.